Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare.
So, Hare Krishna, all the devotees, we welcome all of you to the first canto Srimad Bhagavatam series again. And today we are very, very fortunate to have with us His Grace Anadi Jagannath again. So, let us actually hear today from Prabhuji on the Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, second chapter. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Prabhu, we are doing the first canto, third chapter today. Am I right?
Okay, yeah, third chapter. I'm sorry, yeah, third chapter.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Are you able to hear me clearly?
Yes, Prabhuji, we are able to hear you clearly.
Oh, I'm in a very little dark place.
Okay.
Share my screen. Able to see my screen?
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhuji, we are able to clearly see your screen and hear you.
Okay. Thank you. So, thank you, Prabhu. So, welcome all of you for this Sunday Srimad Bhagavatam, concise, if I can say. And today we are going to read from 1, chapter 3, text 1 to 27 is what we are going to do. So I hope with the blessings of Jagannath Baldev Subhadramai, Nitai Chaitanya, will be able to give you something which will help you get more love towards Krishna and Jagannath. Let us start with some small prayers. I think Kirtan is done in the interest of time. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chaksurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Guruve Sri Chaitanya Manovistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swa Padantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Padakamalam Sri Guru Vaishnava Sirupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sagana Rita Sri Vishaka He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpati Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastuti Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripe Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamini Namaste Saraswati Deve Gaurvani Pracharini Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarini Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Vedra Srimati Jayapataka Swami Namo Charya So this is dedicated to His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, the founder Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, without whose mercy we wouldn't be able to read this, study this, whatever there today is because of him. Just before we start reading the Srimad Bhagavatam, we usually recite this sloka. So first we'll just do a Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udiret. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of God in Narayana, unto Nara Narayana Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nashta Praeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttamasloke Bhakti Bhavati Naisriki. By regular attendance in classes on the and by rendering of service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. So let us all put this in our prayers, that whatever is troublesome to our heart is completely destroyed today after hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam, and loving service unto the personality of Godhead arises. Please note that these sessions are not meant to increase our knowledge, but the knowledge is meant to increase our bhakti towards the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this chapter 3 is on Krishna is the source of all incarnations. So just to take you back where we are in Srimad Bhagavatam. Ideally, the Srimad Bhagavatam, this first canto is about a prelude kind of thing. You are still not come to the place where Sukadeva and Parikshit will start speaking, as you all know, where his so Parikshit will ask questions and will go ahead. Rather, what we are seeing here is that a lot of sages, they are assembled in the holy place of Narayana, and their spokesman is Saunaka Rishi, and they are assembled and they see Suta Goswami has come. So Suta Goswami, once again, he's a learned person, and he was supposed to be, he was present when Sukadev told to Parikshit. So Suta was there. Now these sages, just to tell you all, they knew that Kali was coming. They have done yajna for long years, but then they thought that that is not going in the right direction. It is mentioned that they had done yajna for so long that there was soot formed on their body, something like my color, or thicker than that, thicker than that, the suit was formed. But then they thought that, no, let us hear Srimad Bhagavatam, let us hear the glories of the Lord, and that's how they sat down, like we saw, so that everything good can happen. And so they found who will be the best person to tell them, and they went to Suta Goswami. Please understand, he was not from a Brahmin class, so-called, by caste, but then he spoke, and all the other sages heard, because he was learned. And once he spoke, these sages under Saunaka Rishi, they have asked 6 questions, right? The first 6 questions. I'm sure this was shared by Vraj Prabhu. So we have seen what is the first question. The first question is, what is the highest good? And what is the essence of all? So in response to what is the highest good, it is said that to develop love of God through bhakti, not develop knowledge, not to become a karmi, but to develop love of God through bhakti. That's the essence. So then, what is the essence of all scriptures? That was the second question. The essence of all scriptures is to get devotional service. That was also answered in the 2nd chapter. Then there was a third question. The third question was purpose of Krishna's appearance. And we have seen that in a way, and we will again touch base that next week. But in essence, it is to reclaim people in more of goodness. So why and how, we'll see that. And then there was a question of, because we know purpose of Krishna's appearance, to reclaim. So how does he come to this material world? So he comes through Purusa Avataras and then through the Leela Avatar. So the next 2 questions were Purusa Avataras and Leela Avatar. So last week, when we see in the first canto, second chapter, towards the last sloka, we touch base on Purusa Avatars. And then the third chapter, like you said, Krishna is the source of all incarnation. Here, you will be hearing about Leela Avatars, right? So today, we will be touch basing on question 4 and question 5. And that is what is chapter 3 up till the half. I'm just covering from text 1 to 27. Text 28 is a very interesting verse, which for sure next week one of my god brothers or god cousins will take it forward, which will be which will say that Krishna is the source of all incarnations, of course, and means he is the only Purusha and all others come from him. So we'll be seeing that. But today, let us get going on Purusa Avatars and Leela Avatars. And like earlier, we may not be able to read the sloka, 27 slokas. I'm not even sure if we'll be able to go through, because this contained around 22 incarnations, just 22. Of course, the Lord has innumerable incarnations. I've tried to see as much as possible, as much as I could consolidate and put it so that when we go home, we have understood a little more, and I have understood a little more, you have understood a little more, and then when we go and read Srila Prabhupada's purport, things are more clearer, right? This is never a substitute for Srila Prabhupada's purpose. This is just to aid you in Srila Prabhupada's purpose. So you see this, pretty interesting. This is, so if you see here mother is cutting some vegetables and fruits. So there's vegetables. I think if you are doing Bhishma Panchaki, you can only see the carrots. So your mother is in the kitchen certain times, and the kid may come and say that, hey, hello, I don't want to eat whatever you're cooking. I want to cook on my own. And the kid becomes very adamant. And if the kid becomes very adamant, what does the mother do, or the father do? They go and they bring one particular kitchen toy set. They bring a kitchen toy set and they give it to the child, and they say, okay, you please make your own thing. And so the kid starts preparing, plays around in that 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hour, and after he plays for 1, 2, 3 hours, then again, once she feels hungry, she again comes back to mom and says that, Mom, I'm hungry, can you give me something to eat? So the mom will then say, oh, you were cooking for 4 hours. Why don't you go and you eat whatever you've cooked? Usually the mother won't say that. The mother will say, okay, she has come now, okay, whatever, we had given a place. So anyway, she's come back. So mother will give something very good to eat. So similar is our case, So what happened was, we are now in the place we are in material creation. So why material creation? Material creation is because the Lord is giving us like a toy kitchen, like what this mother has given to the child, So what has happened is Krishna is the only enjoyer, and we are supposed to be enjoyed. But at a certain point of time, we thought that why we should be enjoyed? Why can't we also have our own kitchen? Why can't we be the Lord? And the Lord gives us a place. And that's where the material creation is. Now, while giving that, even that is given by His mercy. So how does that happen? And how does He come and He help us out? And whenever we return back, He will, like the mother gave the food immediately, whenever we return back, we'll be there with the open arm, like the story of the prodigal son in the Bible comes. I think it's in the Old Testament, wherein it is mentioned that his son comes back and the father is always waiting, even though the son has gone and created all nuisances. But when the son wants to come back, father is with open arms. Same we see in Brihad Bhagavatamrita, when Gopakumar returns back. More than what Gopakumar is is excited to see the Lord. The Lord is more excited to see Gopakumar. and Gopakumar, then the Lord accepts him. So similarly, so the Lord, in order to help us all, to give us all this facility, the Lord creates the material world, and which we have, which we are seeing now. Now, why are we seeing this last creation? See, someone says, okay, who is this Krishna? And so that was one of the questions. If you see, what is the purpose of Krishna's appearance? Did he only come to kill Kamsa? I mean, that's what generally it's said. Did he just come to kill Kamsa or to protect Devaki? Well, here we are getting an understanding that he is not only that, but he's the source of everything, including the creation. Including the creation. How the universe is created, even that is created from Krishna. And how does that happen? That happens through this Purusa Avataras. So that's the first incarnation which we saw. I'm sure Prabhu gave you all a brief explanation of that last week. So the first Purusa Avatar, so the first Purusa Avatar is the Karanadaksha Vishnu, sleeping in the Karana ocean. Just imagine, so this is the causal ocean, and just from the pores of his body, one universe is created. So how big he will be? Just from the pores of his body. So that's what. And his source is who? His source is Krishna. He's Karano Dakshai Vishnu. He is the super soul. He's the super soul of the entire creation. Super soul of entire creation. You know? And then when this each universe is created, like you see here, when each universe is created, so give me a minute, someone wants the link for today's program. Okay. So from each of the universe, in each of the universe, now when you go, the universe is blank. So because the universe is blank, because he just created that, so what does he do? Now Karanadaksha Vishnu goes inside this universe. And as he goes inside that, what he does is, from his sweat, he first fills up half of that universe. Each of these universe, now you see, sorry. Each of these universe, he fills up half of this universe. Each of the universes, Garbhodaksha Vishnu. And Garbhodaksha Vishnu first fills up half of that universe with his sweat. So just remember how much big he'll be that with his sweat. Our sweat may sometimes only wetten our vest or our shirt, but here the sweat of the Supreme Personality of Godhead fills half of the universe. And that is called Garbhoda Ocean. That becomes the Garbhoda Ocean. He stays upon that. And in that, then from his navel, which is like a river in itself. So just imagine, the navel itself is like a river. From the navel comes out a lotus. In his garbha comes out a lotus, and on top of the lotus, the first being is created, who is Brahma. That is Garbhodakshai Vishnu. So when people say you, Vishnu, I'm praying Vishnu, you have to ask, which Vishnu? Are you saying about Karanadakshai Vishnu? Who is the cause of all causes? The Karana is who lies in the causal ocean, or are you speaking of the Garbhodakshai Vishnu? Now Garbhodakshai Vishnu is the super soul of the entire universe. Of each universe. So each universe will have a super soul. So just try to understand that nature itself cannot produce everything. It has to be impregnated by the Lord. And now the Lord will make, it is very nicely explained that we'll see in the second canto also, and a little bit is mentioned out here, that the stem of this lotus only is the 14 planetary systems. Basically, that is, in a way, it's a material imagination, some Vaishnavas say, but very nice imagination and a bona fide imagination to think about the Lord, because it will be very helpful for neophytes like us to understand the uh, enormity of the universe. I was hearing, and the Vaishnava was hearing Radhishyam Prabhu, and Prabhu was saying that when you see here, you may not be able to understand that the trees are like hairs of this Garbhodakshay Vishnu. You may not be able to understand, but just go a little far off, means out of this universe, and then you can feel out that how the Brahmaloka is the skull of the Garbhodakshay Vishnu, how each of the mountains are limbs of Vishnu, and how the trees are the hair. So why? Because then a neophyte devotee will be able to understand the enormity, and then he will be able to surrender. So it is mentioned that from this Garbhodakshay Vishnu, so as you see, the six upper loka, like Satyaloka, Tapaloka, Janaloka, Maharloka, Swargaloka, Bhuvarloka, and Bhuloka, Avaloka. And similarly, the down planets, Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Talatala, Mahatala, Rasatala, Patala. All these are within the material universe itself, and in this material universe, little above the Satyaloka, within this material universe itself, just on top of this, there is a milk ocean. It is a Vaikuntha within the material world, which will not get destroyed, but within that, there one more Vishnu stays. One more Vishnu stays, and that Vishnu's name is Kshirodakshay Vishnu, because he's lying in the Kshirosagar. Now that is the expansion, and that Kshirodakshay Vishnu, what he does is, that Kshirodakshay Vishnu is the one whom every time they have a problem, like we saw here, so we saw that all these devatas who are there in Swargaloka, or they go to, if they have any problem, they will go to Satyaloka, they will ask Brahma's thing, and Brahma, if he cannot solve the problem, he will go to the top and he'll go to the Kshirosagar, which we have seen, and there they will go to the milk ocean. This is in a place called Shvetadvip, and there the Kshirodakshay Vishnu is there, and this Kshirodakshay Vishnu will help solve the problems. Now, this Kshirodakshay Vishnu is the super soul of every living entity. He goes as the super soul of every living entity. Just try to understand this and assimilate that without the presence of the super soul, nothing will work. So hence, for the total creation, Garbhodakshay Vishnu is the super soul. And similarly, for the universe, Garbhodakshay Vishnu is that. For the total universe, for the total creation, Karanodakshay, and for the total universe, in each universe, there is one Garbhodakshay, right? For each universe, the super soul is Garbhodakshay, and for each living entity, and including the atom, it is Kshirodakshay Vishnu is the super soul. Now, super soul, like we see in Bhagavad Gita, says, I'm Upadrashtanu Manta. I'm the overseer, I'm the permitter, I'm the sanctioneer. Otherwise, it will not happen. The super soul will oversee, will permit, and will sanction, and then only by his sanction will a blade of grass move. Now here, if you go and read something interesting in the purport and in the translation, the translation says that Garbhodakshay Vishnu is the source of all incarnations. Since Garbhodakshay Vishnu is the source of all incarnations, because the sages have asked the question about the Purusa Avataras, right? And then also they have asked about the Leela Avatars. So that's why first question is asked about this, and then we'll go to the Leela Avatars. And here it is mentioned that Garbhodakshay Vishnu is the source of all the incarnations. But in the purport, Prabhupada writes in the first paragraph that Kshirodakshay Vishnu from Kshirodakshaya, Vishnu emanates all incarnations. And in the last paragraph, again he writes, Garbhodakshaya, Vishnu is the fountainhead of all incarnations. Sometimes it may be little difficult to understand, but try to understand it. And I will just say that we are being little technical, but in Bhagavatam, first canto, they say that the first 3 chapters are technical. After that, it is a lot of pastime. So you will start enjoying the pastimes after that. But if you understand this, it will help you to appreciate what is coming down. So as I was saying you, so from Kshirodakshaya Vishnu, all the other incarnations come up. So yes, he is the source of all incarnations. But who is the source of Kshirodakshaya? As I said you, that is Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. And who is the source of Garbhodakshaya? Karnodakshaya Vishnu. And who is the source of Karnodakshaya Vishnu? Krishna. That's why the chapter's name is Krishna is the source of all incarnations. But the Leelas, the Leela avatars, just, and once again, one has to understand this from a spiritual aspect. Pretty means one has to take down the thought that it's not that the Leela avatars are manifesting now through this. They are coming to the material world through these people, through these incarnations, through these Purusa avatars, but they eternally exist. So that's pretty interesting. The Leela avatars eternally exist, all the incarnations eternally exist, but then they come to this material world through this Purusa avatars. That's the way they come through, because these people are the custodians in a way. Kind of thing. So actually, in something interesting again in the Prabhupada writes that if we have to understand this transcendental knowledge, there are 2 things which we have to be very much, we have to keep in mind. And they are patience and perseverance. It says only patience and perseverance can help us understand the transcendental subjects. Patience and perseverance. We have actually heard in English there is a saying, patience and perseverance can overcome mountains. But Srila Prabhupada writes, patience and perseverance can help us understand transcendental subjects. And of course, by your patience and your perseverance and your service to your spiritual master, it will happen. So these Purusa avatars are the source of all the Leela avatars, which we are going to see. But in order to understand that, actually, the purport for the 5th verse is actually containing a lot of description. It's a big purport and something to be understood where Srila Prabhupada explains about the Guna avatar, Leela avatar, and all of that. And a certain basis for that also comes in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Leela, chapter 20. So using that as the basis, I will also share with you something. But before we go, this is something which you have to understand. Advaitam Achyutam Anadi Manantarupam Adyam Purana Purusham Navayovanam Cha. So Brahma Samhita says that Supreme Lord Sri Krishna is absolute, infallible, and without beginning. Anadi means without beginning. Advaitam absolute, Achyuta infallible. Anadim Anantarupam. He expands himself into unlimited forms. Anantarupam. But in this chapter, we are only seeing 22 of them. Just 22. But that does not mean that these are only 22. There are others also. He's just speaking of 22. It's like Krishna saying to Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita, I'm just telling you some of the prominent ones. But otherwise, by a fragment of mind, I can totally engulf the cosmic manifestation. So he says that. Similarly, there are unlimited expansions, unlimited. It said that the Ananta Shesha, even with his unlimited mouth, is always saying one new glory, but is unable to repeat any of the glories. The glories of Krishna is so much. And here he says that Anadi Manantarupam. So using that as the basis, we can just try to understand a little more technically how these avatars happen. So this is something interesting which I found, so I thought I should share with you all. So hold on. Vipin Prabhu, are you all able to hear me clearly and see the slides clearly?
Yes, yes, Prabhu.
Or
We are able to
anyone
hear
can
you and see the
confirm?
slides also clearly.
Okay, thank you. So, Krishna, the original form of Krishna as a cowherd boy in Vrindavan is called Swayam Rupa. Swayam, his own Rupa, Swayam Rupa. That is how the incarnations will be. So that is Swayam Rupa. Now, Krishna from Swayam Rupa, if he wants to expand, then he'll become Swayam Prakasha, his own expansion. Now, they can be of two types. One is Prabhava Prakasha, or Prabhava Prakasha. What it means? It means Krishna will expand himself in the same form like he did, like we saw in Rasa dance when he was dancing with the gopis. Krishna, everyone thought Krishna was with them, right? So Krishna expanded himself as he is, without any change. That is how Krishna went to all the gopis. Similarly, when we read in Dwaraka, Krishna married the 16,108 wives. So we see that Krishna was present as Krishna himself. Narada sees that everywhere present, and he's present as himself. So that is Swayam Prakasha. In Swayam Prakasha, that is Prabhava Prakasha, right? So where he's in the same, his original form stays and he expands himself into many forms, right? When it comes to Vaibhava Prakasha, what happens is his form, but they have different manifestations. They show a different manifestation according to different emotional features, like Balaram. Now Krishna is black in color, but Balaram is white in color. So it's different manifestation, different emotion. Balaram wants to serve always Krishna. That is Vaibhava Prakasha. Now, from this Vaibhava Prakasha, from Balaram, then there is the other forms which comes up, which is called Tad Ekatma Rupa. That means when his form and transcendental emotion are differently manifested. It's the same person, but it is differently manifested. And when they come for any pastime, they have come for expansion, that is called Vilasa. We'll see two types of Vilasa. Like you saw two types of Prakasha. You saw Prabhava Prakasha, Vaibhava Prakasha. Right? Similarly, this Vilasa will be, because he has to take different forms based on his emotion, based on certain leelas. So it will be Vilasa, it will be pastime expansion, and this is called Prabhava Vilasa. And in Prabhava Vilasa, the first four incarnation is called Adi Chaturviha, Adi, the beginning Chaturviha, the first Chaturvihas, which is Vasudeva, Sankarshana, Aniruddha, Pradyumna. Please note that these four will always stay in Mathura or Dwarka. These four, this first Chaturviha, this will stay in Mathura or Dwarka, like it is showing up here, right? So now what happens from Sankarshana, the second Chaturviha comes up. From Sankarshana. There was Prabhava Vilasa. From Prabhava Vilasa, now the second comes up, which is Vaibhava Vilasa. So from Vilasa is Lord Narayana. Narayana can be one person. It is not referring to a set of person, but it can also mean anyone who is lying down on the ocean. So like even Garbhodakshai can be called a Narayana, Kshirodaksha can be called a Narayana, Karnadaksha can be called a Narayana. So, but here it is mentioned about Narayana, which is Vaibhava Vilasa, and that is the second Chaturviha which comes up. And the second Chaturviha is about Vasudeva, Sankarshana, Pradyumna, and Aniruddha. They are the second expansions. And from this Vasudeva, you get each one gives three incarnations. Easy to remember for all of you who are wearing Tilak mantra, Keshavaya Namaha, Narayana Namaha, Madhavaya Namaha, Govindaya Namaha, Vishnave Namaha, Madhusudhanaya Namaha, Trivikramaya Namaha, Vamanaya Namaha, Sridharaya Namaha, Rishikeshaya Namaha, Padmanabhaya Namaha, Damodaraya Namaha. You see, that's what we are actually remembering this. And they are coming from each one of them. And the different incarnations. This comes from the Vaibhava Vilas. This is Dvitiya Chaturvya, not the first Chaturvya. This is coming in the, we can say in the, this will come almost now, it is coming to the material world. Now from this Sankarshana, this Dvitiya Chaturvya, this second Sankarshana, you will get the Swamsa incarnation. And in the Swamsa incarnation, there are 6 types, and the first type is called Purusa Avatars, which we saw. We saw Karanadakshay, Garbhadakshay, Shirodakshay. And all the other 5 Swamsa forms are from Shirodakshay. Maybe this will help you understand a little more nicer. This slide was a little more easier to understand. I didn't know how to put across. I got it from the directory. So, like we saw this, we saw Krishna Swayam Prakasha, when he is himself manifesting and he expands into multiple forms, Prabhava Prakasha. And then it comes to Vaibhava Prakasha, like Balaram. And Tadekatma Rupa, I said Vilasa, for wherein in Vilasa he is basically doing some pastimes. And I said that first Vilasa is the Prabhava Vilasa, the first quadruple Chaturviha expansions. From this comes this Vaibhava Vilasa, the second set of Chaturviha forms presiding over the 4 directions. They are the ones which presides over one of the 12 months. And then we also have here actually two more we have, which is it helps us in making a total of 24 primary Vilasas, means 5 into 4, 20 plus this original 4. So 24 Vaibhava Vilasas. These 4 original are there. From each one you saw 3 comes. There is another 2 which will come. Janardana, Hishikesha, all that. So it will have 24 Vaibhava Vilasa. Now from this Vaibhava Vilasa, I said you that like we saw here, from this Vaibhava Vilasa, Sankarshana comes, the second Sankarshana. And from that second Sankarshana, the Swamsa forms will come. There are 6 types of Swamsa forms. 6 types. But though here it shows that all 6 on the same line, it is basically from this Purusa Avatar, from one Swamsa Purusa Avatar, we saw Karanadakshay, which we already saw, lying in the original Purusa Avatar. So you can call Karanadakshay the original Purusa Avatar, who is lying in the causal ocean, and from whom the universes emanate. From him comes Garbhodakshay Vishnu, the second Purusa Avatar. So the first one is Karanadakshay, second one is Garbhodakshay, and the third one is Shirodakshay, right? Now from Shirodakshay Vishnu, all the other 5 avatars will come. Lila Avatar, Guna Avatar, Saktavesh Avatar, Manavantra Avatar, Yuga Avatar. Some can be combinations also. Okay, so you don't have to worry about that. Let us just see each one. We'll quickly just touch base and then go. We have time. Yeah. So, Guna Avatar. Guna Avatar is, now these are again coming from the Kshirodakshay Vishnu. So you have Vishnu will himself maintain, and from him will come Brahma and also Shiva. From Brahma, Shiva will come, but then that is, they are all dissonance from them, and it is called Brahma will help in creation, Vishnu in maintenance, and Shiva in destruction. So when we say Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara, we are basically referring to the 3 Guna avatars, right? They are the 3 gunas. So for Rajaguna Brahma, for Sattva-guna Vishnu, for Tamaguna Shiva. So 3 gunas, so 3 Guna avatar. So that is Guna avatar, right? Done. Similarly, for each yuga, there may be a Yuga avatar also for each yuga. Like we have 4 yugas: Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapar Yuga, Kali Yuga. Like for Kali Yuga, our Kali Yuga avatar is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, right? So one has to understand that. And there are different, like we know when Gargamuni went and spoke to what was his name, and Nanda Maharaj. So said that this boy has come in different forms earlier, and he had different colors. And Kali he will come in yellow color, right? So that is Yuga Avatar, different yugas. And similarly, Manvantara Avatar. Now, Manvantara, in each day of Brahma, there are 14 Manus. To try to understand the enormity of this, in each day there are 14 Manus. So in a month of Brahma, there is 14 into 30 Manus. And among in a year, there will be 14 into 30 into 360. Yeah, 360, 362, whatever it is, it will come. That many manus are there. And it is mentioned in the 12th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam that why are these called Manvantara Avatar? Because the Lord can himself come. There are 6 types of incarnations which will come, it seems. One is, they'll come as the sages. I seem to forget. One will himself as Indra, then one as Manu, and one as Manu Putras. So how many we could say? Indra, then we could remember the sages, Manu himself, Manu Putra. I forget what are the other 2, but there are 6 types of avatars which will come up in each Manvantara, you know. And sometimes the Lord himself will come as a Manuputra, or will take up a position if there is no one else capable. We'll see one of them in one of the Lila avatars when he's coming up. Okay, we'll see that. Then what are next is Sakyavesha avatar. Now Sakyavesha avatar, these are specially empowered living entities who are representatives of the Lord. They're given some special, they may be Jiva Tattva, and they are special. They may be Jiva Tattva, but they are given special powers by which they are like representative of the Lord. So they also are very powerful. Like we have the Kumaras. Now, you may ask that, okay, we are calling them Sakyavesha, but how are they being mentioned as Leela Avatar? Because we'll see that as Leela Avatar. It is being mentioned as Leela Avatar. That's what the sages have been told by Sutta Goswami. So we will understand that. Maybe once our understanding becomes more clearer, we will be able to know that means they are Sakyavesha and they are Leela also, right? So the 4 Kumaras, they represent Jnana Sakti of the Lord, Narada, who represents Bhakti Sakti of the Lord, Brahma, who represents Srishti Sakti, that means he will form the creation, then Ananta, Bhudharana Sakti, because maintains the world, Shesa, Swasevana Sakti, because serves the Lord. So when Krishna becomes Narayana, Balaram becomes Shesha. Then Prithu is Palana Shakti. We'll see about Prithu in some time. Parshurama is Dushta Nashana Shakti, or who will annihilate the miscreants. Same way it goes for Sakyavesha Avatar. So in Sakyavesha Avatar, it could be also as Vibhuti, like we read that in Bhagavad Gita, in chapter 10, when we're seeing the options of the Absolute. We also see this again in the 11th canto, when the Gita is being once again told, you know. I think in Uddhava Gita it comes. So he'll say, among demigods I'm Indra, among Vashus I'm Agni, among the mountains I'm Meru, among the immovable things I'm Himalaya, so also so on and so forth. So that is also referring to one type of vibhuti. That's also a part of Sakyavesha Avatar. Now we have seen all of this. Now Leela avatars, the basic thing, that was one of the questions, right? Leela avatars are the pastime descents of the Lord, which are described to the unlimited, just as the waves of the ocean. So we have different Leela avatars. Now the next part of the chapter 3, from 3.6 sloka to 3.25 basically gives about 23 incarnations, if we can say. But Krishna Balaram are put in one, so they are so it becomes 22 incarnations. But once again, I'm repeating it, these are not the only incarnations. Okay, there are unlimited incarnations, and we'll go to each one of them. Just quickly, we will touch base in the interest of time. We have to maybe open up till, we'll try to close by 11:20 or so, and then we will see if we can open up for some questions for 10 minutes or so. So in the Leela Avatars, first is mentioned about the Kumaras. We saw this in also in the Purusa Avataras. So they were basically mentioned about this Jnana Sakti. And these Kumaras were one of the first creations of Brahma. And as soon as they were born, they were the first ones to say no to their father. Almost all sons are somewhere or the other, you all remember how you all have said a no to your father, something your father really wanted you to do, and you really didn't do it because you thought that, no, I know what is better, I cannot do what my dad wants. Almost in everyone's life, so Kumaras were the first one. So you are actually following Kumaras. Kumaras started it off. Brahma actually created them, and Brahma said, well, now you all go create the progeny. And these four of them said, hello, what do you mean create? We cannot do all of this. We are doing that. So that's what is the Kumaras. And so they always prefer to stay as kids. Now the photo which you see is that of in the Vaikuntha in the seventh Dwar. They are meeting Jaya Vijaya, and Jaya Vijaya seeing them as four kids. Do not allow them inside. And when they do not allow them inside, these four curse them. You are not fit to stay here because you cannot recognize who is learned and who is not learned. You're not fit to be here. Anyone who is a doorkeeper should know whom to allow, whom not to allow. Otherwise, what is your point in staying there? And they stood there, they cursed. And hearing their curse, the Lord himself came. There are different reasons why the Lord came. The Lord comes, it's very nicely mentioned, that when the Lord comes, before the Lord comes, the Tulasi, which is in the lotus feet of the Lord, that comes, and the Tulasi floats, the Tulasi floats and comes, and the four Kumaras will be standing. So Tulasi just goes in front of their nose, and they smell the nose, they smell the Tulasi leaves, and that devotional service changes this Brahma Gyanis, these Gyanis, to Bhaktas, and they are the proponents or the preceptors of one of the parampara, the Kumara parampara. That's interesting. So they have situated in a vow of celibacy. They underwent several austerities for realizing absolute truth. You also will see them in a later canto of Bhagavatam when Hamsavatar comes. I think they go and they ask some question, and to which Brahma doesn't answer. Brahma then calls Hamsavatar, and Hamsavatar answers. So pretty interesting. Many places you'll find them about the Kumaras. The next avatar which is mentioned is that of Varaha avatar. You all know this. That once again linked to the previous one. Among the two Jaya Vijaya, they chose to actually be born as demons instead of being born as devotees, because they said that if you're born as demons, you can come back in 3 times. They said, okay, that is better. We'll come back soon. We cannot bear the separation from the Lord. And one of them became Hiranyaksha, and the other became Hiranyakashipu. And this Hiranyaksha was so powerful that took Mother Earth and put in the Garbhodaka ocean. Remember the Garbhodaka ocean. Now you should be able to link that, right? So Garbhodaka ocean is the ocean which is created from the sweat of Garbhodaksha Vishnu, and it covers half of the universe. And now this was there. So in different places, also said in the regions, and the Lord assumed the form of a wild boar and lifted Mother Earth and brought and put back in the orbit. To stay in the orbit itself, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that I give the power by which they can stay in the orbit. And Hiranyaksha was so powerful that pulled out from the orbit and put down. But then the Lord is more powerful than him, and so the Lord pulled back up and put back in the orbit. So the Lord appeared in the form of wild boar and rescued them. Devaki Jai. So that's pretty nice. Then the next avatar mentioned in this chapter is that of Narada. You know pretty nicely about Narada. And Narada is the universal spaceman. And Prabhupada says that now all the sannyasis have to take the curse which Narada got from Daksha. That's one an interesting pastime. Is our particular Daksha is a Prajapati. He wants to beget many children, and our what Daksha does is he gets 10,000 sons, and as soon as he gets the sons, he says, okay, go perform austerity and come back so that you can create good progeny. And when they go, our dear Narada goes and preaches to them. Why do you want to go and get into the ashram? That is a lot of problems. Don't do that. and they become sannyasis, all 10,000. And then Daksha has another 10,000. And Narada once again preaches to them, and they all become sannyasis. And so Daksha, what he does is he curses Narada that you cannot stay in one particular place, because only if you stay, you will do all these things. You will have to keep moving. And so Narada keeps moving. And Prabhupada says that's why all these sannyasis have to take this curse of moving about and preaching. I remember that Srila Prabhupada also told about this instruction to his own Jayapataka Swami Maharaj. And Maharaj was traveling hence a lot, And Narada also wrote the Narada Bhakti Sutra. Pretty interesting, because we are in the Kartik month, and yesterday I was talking to my wife about that. So there is, if you go in the Govardhan Parikram just after Uddhav Kund, after Kusum Sarovar, a little front and then to the left, you actually have Narada Kund. Usually people forget to go there, they just walk on the main road of Govardhan and they don't go to the left. But if you go, you'll find something interesting, Narada Kund, where actually Narada wanted to participate in the Rasalila, but they said only gopis can come. So Narada takes a dip in the Kusum Sarovar, the Kunda. I think he takes a dip there, and then he becomes a gopi. And then he participates. Once he participates, Krishna says that you have to write something for the devotees by which they can be engaged in devotional service. So Narada says, hello, I cannot. I already have a curse by which I cannot stay. You remember, right? I just said you the past. So by Daksha. So Krishna says something interesting. Krishna says that all those curses, all those things are only in the material world. Vrindavan and Govardhan are not material world, they are spiritual world. So no curse will work here. You can stay here. And Narada actually sits down there and writes the Bhakti Sutra, the Narada Bhakti Sutra. Anyway, moving on, we have a lot of incarnations left. Next one is Nara Narayana. We actually pray to them. Every time we read Srimad Bhagavatam, we pray to Nara and Narayana. And with their blessings only, we start reading Bhagavatam. It is also mentioned that this Nara is only Arjuna later. And severe and exemplary penances to control the senses. In fact, it's mentioned that they were so exemplary in their controlling the senses that Indra one time sent some very beautiful. Indra got worried by seeing these two people performing penances. Indra is a position, so Indra was worried that maybe these people want to take over my position, and it's a fight for position many times. So sent some very beautiful apsaras. They were so beautiful, and like we cannot even imagine. They came and they were dancing in front of the Lord, but from the thighs of Narayana, some more beautiful apsaras were created, who in front of whom these apsaras were like frogs. and no one could disturb them, or no one could disturb them in controlling their senses. So they are Nara Narayana, the Lord himself came. And then we have Kapila Muni. You all know about Kapila Muni. It's about the Sankhya philosophy and how Kapila gave the knowledge to his mother Devahuti. Many of them are from the first Bhagavatam tree. Actually, I'll show you that Bhagavatam tree. So Kapila Muni gave the knowledge to his mother Devahuti. Actually, in this translation, Prabhupada writes about that he gave an exposition of the creative elements in metaphysics to a particular Brahmana. I tried to find out about that, but I couldn't find out. If any one of you finds out about that Brahmana Ashru or something, you can maybe help me out, can send me the details. I couldn't find anything specific on that. So I've just But Kapila is the one who gave the Sankhya philosophy, and he always exists. He always exists. I think in the north directions, he's always there, Kapila Muni. So Dattatreya is the next incarnation, which is mentioned, son of Atri and Anasuya. And it is mentioned that Anasuya saw the three Guna avatars, Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwar, and said that why don't you all please take birth as my son, and she performed penance for that. And that's how Dattatreya was born. And it's mentioned that he spoke on the subject of transcendence to Yadu, the starting of the Yadu dynasty, to King Yadu and others. So Dattatreya was there. And then you have this Yajna. This Yajna is like, he is the son of Prajapati Ruchi and Akuti. It is mentioned that during the change of the Swambhuva Manu, one Swambhuva Manu's time change, like I said, in one Brahma's day there are 14 Manus. So one Brahma, when one Manu changed, the Swambhuva Manu, the first Manu he changed, during that time there was no one who could, who was capable of taking the form of, who was capable of becoming Indra. So Vishnu himself became Indra. Vishnu as in Yajna. Yajna himself became Indra there, and he ruled. So he was there for the change period, like, the handover period, the change period, and he was assisted by his by demigods such as his son Yama and others. So that is about Yajna. Sorry. This is something I thought I should just show you all. This is a pretty interesting thing. This is the Srimad Bhagavatam family tree. Why I brought this out was, here also you will see that from Krishna, like we saw from Garbhodakshay Vishnu, Brahma came, right? From Garbhodakshay Vishnu, Swambhuva Manu came. He's the first Manu. Now from him, there are many Manuputras, right? Like I said, they are also the Manvantara avatars, right? And there could be daughter also. Swambhuva's Manu's daughter was Devahuti, and whose son was Kapila. We saw about Kapila now. If you remember, we saw about Kapila. We will now see about some more things. We will see, like, we saw also about Yajna. As I said, Swambhuva Manu's daughter was Akuti. And so he had three daughters, Akuti, Prasuti, Devahuti. And Devahuti we saw, Kapila Muni. And Akuti's husband was Prajapati Ruchi. And his son was Yajna, who is an incarnation of Krishna, which we just saw. And we have two sons he had, Uttanapad and Priyavrata. Priyavrata side, just remember that Bharata is there and Rishabdev will come to them. And Uttanapad side, you remember about Dhruva, right? So let us see about this. This will come up. I was speaking to you about Narada and Daksha. That comes here. This Daksha, this 10,000 Haryasavas and 10,000 Sayal Savas, they became sannyasis, right? So King Rishabha, he's the son of Nabhi and Meru Devi. Rishabhadev, it is mentioned. Now this King Rishabha, to the best of my knowledge, is the same Rishabhadev who also comes in the Jain lineage. The Jainism which they follow. Their the first Tirthankara is Rishabhadev. I think that's the same Rishabhadev. And one pretty interesting thing which Prabhupada says, that if you are Lord, you have to be like Rishabhadev, his incarnation. His stool was so fragrant that the smell of his stool was fragrant for some 80 miles or something. So your Lord is not like us, of course, in the Swargaloka also, in the Devaloka also, you will not get sweat and others. But for the Lord, even in this material world, if he's there, even if it's his stool, for us, if we go, we have to go to the toilet and come out of it fast, just complete your work fast. But in case of Rishabh, even his stool was so fragrant, and he showed the path of perfection. It was his son was Bharata Maharaj. It is mentioned that based on his name only, the kingdom is now known as Bharata for us, and he showed the path of perfection after he gave his kingdoms. Like if you see here, King Rishabhadev had 100 sons. So Bharata Maharaj gave was from Bharata Maharaj, and his story we remember. He became a deer in the next life, and then Jada Bharata and all of that, right? This Bharata and other nine Yogendras who later will give knowledge to. You have that in the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. So to Nimi and 90 other sons. So after he gave the knowledge to all the 100, he actually went as a Avaduta, and he followed everything as a Avaduta. So he was once again totally sense controlled. There is King Rishabhadev, then King Prithu. So you see many grihasthas there. So King Prithu was produced from the churning of King Vena's hand. King Vena was a king who was not, he was once again in the Uttanapad lineage. So here, sorry. Yeah. So you see here, from the Uttanapad lineage, from San Dhruva, that lineage, Prithu, there was a king called Vena, but he was totally against the religious principles. So the Brahmanas killed him. So earlier, the Brahmanas, they didn't want to rule the kingdom. But if someone else was not appropriate, they used to remove him, which we'll see also as an incarnation. So they removed Vena, but from the churning of his right hand, they got Prithu and his wife Archie. They were both born from the same churning. And Prithu is actually from his name. Mother is scolding me. So Prithu, from Prithu's name, the planet is known as Prithvi. And Prithvi cultivated the land to yield various produces, and for that reason the earth was beautiful and attractive. So Prithvi name is from this Prithu Maharaj, and very, very nice king. He was also an incarnation of Krishna. You all know again about this Matsya avatar. So Matsya avatar came after Chakshusa Manu. So now we are in the 7th Manu's case. We are in Vaivasvata Manu. So after Chakshusa Manu, it got inundated, and it was because of this Matsya avatar that we were saved. A pretty interesting thing happens. For his devotee Satyavrata, one Satyavrata is actually putting water oblations in the river, and picks up a small fish, comes in his hand, but it's speaking fish, and the fish then says that, oh, I am also your subject. How will you not take care of me? The king feels very nice. Yes, correct. I have to take care of you. What do you want? No, I want a place where I can stay. So the king puts him in a well. Says that suddenly he becomes the size of the well, the fish. He says, oh, you need to give me a bigger place. Put me in a lake. Puts in a lake, becomes the size of a lake. Then puts in the says, put me in a river. Puts him in a river, becomes the size of a river. Then says, puts me in an ocean, and an ocean becomes the size of the ocean. And the king says, who are you? You cannot be an ordinary fish who is just taking the size. So that was Matsya Avatar. And he says that, well, go get all these species together, because there will be inundation now. It's time, and during that time, the 7 sages will already be in the boat. And as soon as the boat comes, you all come together, get hooked to my hook, and then I will take you. So that's how the Matsya Avatar saved. Then we have Kurma Avatar. You all remember Saga Manthan, you all remember that. So the Devatas and the demons, they churn. But when they churn, they use the Mandarachala hill. Right? But something had to be used as a pivot upon which they can stand, So that the Lord took the form of Kurma Avatar, and that is where the Kurma Avatar stayed, and hence from there it went about in churns, right? Then there is about Dhanvantari Avatar. So Dhanvantari is the doctor avatar, He came with nectar during Sagamanthan, and usually, like you have conch for Dhanvantari, you have leech. So that's why leech therapy is done nowadays. If you put leech, then the bad blood is sucked out. So Dhanvantari also came with nectar. So so then also spoken about Mohini Avatar. The Lord came as a beautiful lady called Mohini, and she was so beautiful that she allured the atheists and gave nectar to the demigods to drink. Gave nectar to the demigods to drink, in fact, later Shiva comes and requests Vishnu, can you show me the Mohini avatar? Shiva comes with Parvati, but believe me, after seeing Mohini, Vishnu says, do you really want? Shiva says, yes, I would like to see. So beautiful, I've only heard about it. He actually starts following. But later, very nicely in Srimad Bhagavatam, he says that, how will I not follow my Lord? And that's how Shiva says about that incident. So that's Mohini avatar. Then, of course, you know about Narasimha avatar. Tavakara Kamala Vari Nakam, Adbhuta Sringam, Dalita Hiranyakasipu, Tanu Bring Keshavadrita, Narahari Rupa, Jai Jagadisha Hari. So basically, bifurcated the strong body of Hiranyakasipu with his nails, just as a carpenter pierces his cane. Narasimhadev, and when Narasimhadev got angry, when Narasimhadev was angry, no one could approach him except for the devotee Prahlad. Even Lakshmi didn't come, Brahma didn't come, no one came. They just put Prahlad, and as soon as Prahlad came, Narasimhadev's anger calmed down. So that is the glory of Narasimha Avatar. I'm just running about because some of them you know, and we have to see so many other avatars. The next avatar mentioned is that of Vamana avatar. So, pretty nice here. Vamana avatar is like Bali found that the devatas have become weak. So because the devatas have become weak, so he goes and he takes over all the kingdom. And when he goes and takes over all the kingdom, the devatas don't have any place to stay. So at that place, they come and they say to their mother, Devata's mother is Aditi. Both Aditi and Diti are the wife of sage Kashyapa. We saw that. That is also there in the first slide. And so Aditi then prays to the Lord and says, you'll be born as my son. And so Upendra is born. The small child is called Upendra. And he's so beautiful, so beautiful, so beautiful that because he's Krishna, Akarshan, he attracts everyone. So someone gives a deer skin, someone gives a kamandalu, and he goes directly to Bali Maharaj's place, and Bali Maharaj is doing yajna, and he asks that, please give me 3 foot of land, and Bali says, hey, hello, young Brahmana, you will get married later, so you will have a lot of requirements. So you'll be aggressive. So better you ask me more. I can give you a planet also if you want. I am the owner of all the planets now. All the planetary systems, in fact, all the 14 planetary systems. He says, no. I'm satisfied with 3. You just give me 3. Can you give me 3 or not? And then at that point of time, Sukracharya realizes who this fellow is and says, well, Bali, this is Vishnu himself. And so don't give him. He'll take away everything from you. And that's when Bali follows the footsteps of his grandfather, Prahlad. And says, if he's Supreme Personality of Godhead, then yes, I will take it. I will give it totally to him. Pretty interesting analogy. Yesterday again, I heard about that, which I will share with you. It's like you're having some prasad, and when you're having prasad, you have closed your eyes and you're singing the prayers, Mahaprasadi Govinde Nama Brahmane Vaishnave, you're singing that, and very nice items have come. It's Kartik Purnima, the Sharad Purnima, you have fasted for Bhishma Panchak, and so your first time having so many items, and one of the items is a gulab jamun or a rasagolla is there, and suddenly some hand is coming up and picking up one rasagolla. What will you do? You have closed your eyes, but you can realize, you'll just suddenly catch the hand. You'll say, hello, don't take this gulab jamun or rasagolla. You can take dal, you can take rice, but not this. This is best item. And then when you realize, then you see who that hand is. If you figure out that that hand is of your spiritual master, just imagine that in front of you, Srila Prabhupada, or your spiritual master, some spiritual master, Gopal Krishna Maharaj, or Japa Maharaj, or someone is there and they are taking. What will you do? Oh, why one rasagolla? You take the total plate. You please take. And interestingly, you may even take out a selfie there, please take this and say that I gave the plate. So that's how Prabhu said it. I'm just repeating it. But that was pretty interesting. That was the mood of Bali Maharaj, actually. Very nicely explained that when Bali said that, oh, the things, everything I've got from Krishna himself, Krishna himself is asking for me. I'm very happy. I'll give it to him. What is the big thing about that? And when Krishna gave that, when Bali gave that, in 2 of his foot itself, he completed everything. And it's mentioned that then he says, hey, I have covered everything, all the planetary system. What else is left? There's nothing left out here. You cannot run away. You have cheated me. And he says, tie him out. And they put the Varuna Fasa, they pulled him out. It is mentioned that when this upper feet was going up, Brahma was in the topmost loka, Brahma Loka. And so in the Brahma Loka, Brahma was actually praying. He saw that as soon as the foot, the toe tip touched the spiritual world, So Virajanadi came in as Ganga, the water was flowing in. So he took the Charnamrita and he's drinking. And then he says, oh Lord, what is this? You have said in the Bhagavad Gita, Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam. You may bhakti prachati, someone who gives, you're satisfied with Patram and Pushpam itself. And now you're not even satisfied with the 14 planetary systems. This is true. And then it seems Brahma said, hello, Brahma, don't enter into this. I'm just checking him. I'm checking how will he behave. Will he behave like Hiranyakashipu and start fighting with me? Or what will he do? And Bali did the unbelievable. What did Bali do? Bali did Atma Nivedana. Bali actually said, oh Lord, I'm still there. You can put your third foot on me. I'm there. I'm surrendering myself unto you. And the Lord was so pleased with him. And the Lord said that I will become your doorkeeper. That was the interesting part of Vamanadev. Then we also know about Bhrigupati. Bhrigupati is no one else other than Parashuram. He annihilated Kshatriyas 21 times because they were rebelling against the Brahmanas. Like you saw the Brahmanas killed Vena, that is only one time, but Parashurama killed 21 generation of Kshatriyas. Unless he used to only not kill if the Kshatriyas went and hid behind their wives. There was a source of shame. That's how Dasharatha got saved. Of course, then Ramachandra came. That was also required. And the other is Vyasadeva. Vyasadeva came as the literary incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He was the one who divided the Veda into branches. He knew that people will become less intelligent, so he divided the Vedas. He taught them separately. Had Vyasadeva not been there, we would not have been able to read this Bhagavatam and others. Whatever you're reading, that is also which Sukadeva has said. The storyline which we are reading is what Sukadeva has said. How did Sukadeva hear it? Sukadeva again heard it from Vyasadeva. So Vyasadeva is the one who divided that one Veda into branches. So remember, it's Vyasadeva, it's no one else, but it is Vyasadeva, because he thought that the people become less intelligent. Chandra also is there. So Ramachandra, the Lord himself came, like I said you previously also. So Ramachandra showed superhuman powers. He controlled the Indian Ocean. He killed Ravana. Ramachandra, he was, if one has to see renunciation, one has to see totally in Ramachandra. Just imagine the night before, you are said that you will be coronated as the king. You'll be coronated as the king. And the next day morning, you are said, you have to go to the forest. Nothing is there. People nowadays, even if they have lost in elections, they don't concede it. You see it. I don't know how many of you follow that. I'm materially, I support US clients, so I follow up that. So in the US presidential elections, there's a person who has lost and he's not ready to concede the election because very, very difficult to give up a position. Mr. Trump does not want to give up that. But just imagine Lord Ramachandra was supposed to be coronated as the king. He says that you have to leave all of this. He's validly, he's the king. He does not even ask a question. He says, okay, I'll go. And he leaves. That's what he was, Ramachandra. Lord Ramachandra ki jai. And then comes Krishna Balaram ki jai. So Krishna Balaram, this verse is particularly pretty interesting. I think 21, 22 or 22, 23, just go and see that. In this verse, it is said that Bhagavan, so basically it is said that they are not coming from the incarnation, but they is Krishna himself. So Krishna is the avatari. Similarly, Chaitanya is avatari. They're the source of all incarnation. They are not incarnation themselves. I remember once in Los Angeles, one devotee went for his initiation interview to Srila Prabhupada, and Srila Prabhupada asked him, who is Lord Chaitanya? And he said, Chaitanya is an incarnation of Krishna. And Prabhupada said, I won't give you initiation. And the person, that boy, was totally devastated. And then Prabhupada was merciful. Prabhupada said, Chaitanya is Krishna himself. They are avataris, they are not avataras. But here, under the Leela avatar, that name is also given as Krishna Balaram. Balaram always wants to serve. Then you have the form of the incarnation of Buddha. One has to pretty understand about Buddha's incarnations. We say, Prabhupada writes that in Bhagavad Gita introduction also, that the Buddhists are atheists. Try to understand this. Prabhupada writes that the Buddhists are atheists because they don't believe in the Vedas. Because Vedas are book of knowledge. But Buddha is a bona fide incarnation. How is that? So you say that Buddha is a bona fide incarnation, but those who follow Buddha, the Buddhists are not bona fide. They are not. That's what Prabhupada writes. That's because we have to understand why Buddha came and said that. Because when Buddha came down during that time when he incarnated, it is mentioned that people were using Vedas as a means to kill animals. Animals were being killed left, right, center. Whereas Krishna has said, Sarvayonishu Kaunteya, I am the seed-giving father for all living entities, not only for human beings. Even now, some sects of Christianity, they say soul is only present in human beings. Animals don't have, so we shall kill animals. So that was the mindset at that point of time. So Buddha came, and Buddha, then what he did was he said, just don't see the Vedas. Let's follow non-violence. So all the atheists, they became attracted to Buddha, and that way they could surrender to the Supreme Personality of God. So that was an incarnation. So Buddha helped out in that. So you have to understand. So his was for the purpose of deluding those who are envious of the faithful theist. So he helped the atheists in an aspect, But Buddha is a bona fide incarnation. And last, we also know that Kalki will come at the end of Kali Yuga, when the rulers of the earth will have become plunderers. So very nicely explained also where he will be born, which village, and how will he come. So that avatar details is also given, which will come up. So just try to understand this. This is what is the 27th, I think, 27th or 26th verse, I forget, but it says, Avatara hi asankheya hare sattva nidher dvija yatha vidasina kulyaha sarasahasyu sahasrasaha Oh Brahmanas, the incarnations of the Lord are innumerable, like rivulets flowing from inexhaustible sources of water. So there are rivulets flowing from inexhaustible sources of water. There can be many rivulets. Similarly, there can be many incarnations. There are innumerable incarnations. We have only discussed 22 of them, not many. Right? Thank you. We are almost reaching time. We have 4 more minutes left. With your permission, Vipin Prabhu, can you open for questions? Maybe 1-2 questions we can take, otherwise we can answer them in the group.
Hare Krishna, if devotees have any questions, please raise your hand in Zoom and we will unmute. Yes.
Who is it, please?
I have the same question which keeps coming. That is why women are compared to Shudras in the stanza. I had seen here in verse 23, I think. Not 23, one of the verses here, which I was reading, where women and Shudras and all are compared together. And whereas all are souls and should not be, it seems a little derogatory and gender biased. So just wanted to know why.
Thank you, Mataji, for first of all asking that. Because many don't ask it up. You ask that. So, see, there is one has to see from a broader perspective. It is not if you want it or not want it, there is a difference in every species. Even among humans, there are 4 lakh species of life. So there are different gradations of the people. And women are supposed to be more emotional. That is a fact. So based on that, it is mentioned that, hence the scriptures mentions that they may understand less because they will take it through the heart. And hence, they are given certain scriptures which they can easily understand. That is not meant to be derogatory. Means, in the present perspective of the world, we may think it as derogatory. Why have they classified it with Shudras? Then the other aspect is everyone, Kalau, Shudra, Sambhave, every one of us are Shudras. There is no one else. Everyone are Shudra. There is no one other than a Shudra in this Kali Yuga. So all of us are on the same level, if we have to think of that. And while whatever is said in the scriptures is a truth, and they cannot mix that up. Having said that, it's also said that how being, because they always follow their heart, they are the ones who can easily take up to Krishna consciousness, because they don't they will not think too much. A very nice example of that comes in the Krishna book, Krishna and the Brahmana wives. When the Gopas say that we are hungry, Krishna says, go and say that Balaram is asking for food, because Balaram is the son of a Kshatriya, so he can ask the Brahmana. So go and say Balaram, because Krishna was the son of a cowherd man of Nanda Maharaj. So when he goes to the Brahmanas are doing yajna. And what happens there is, for whom is yajna? Yajna is for Krishna. But when they ask food from there, the Brahmana says, hello, not possible. Let the yajna be over and then we'll give. Same, Krishna then says, now go and ask the Brahmana wives. The Brahmana wives are preparing food for the Brahmanas. And at that point of time, what happens? When they go to the Brahmana wives, without even thinking, they give the total food to Krishna Balaram. And that's how it is. Because they are not using logic to understand. They see what their heart is feeling. So why is it that we have to think? There will be a difference. If you're working in an office, there is a need for a clerk also. There is a need for a administrative class also. There's a need for a security. Everyone are doing their particular aspect. So we have to respect them in their aspect, but we cannot say communism, where it said everyone are equal. may not work, but this will work for sure. That so don't think it as derogatory, and specifically for you Vaishnavis, this should not be taken, because Vaishnavis are above this. Prabhupada has also said, and he has at different points of times made the Vaishnavi made the Vaishnavis lead the programs in the front. We have a society where Vaishnavis sit and give Bhagavatam classes in Sridham Mayapur. So I don't think we look down on the Vaishnavis, but we have to understand what can be explained to them. Like, say for instance, let me take my own case. Between me and if you have to take a god brother of mine like Vidwan Gauranga Prabhu, or say for example Rajakrishna Prabhu, my intelligence is less than them for sure. I cannot say that I'll be equal, so I cannot give certain answers from a very theological or very logistical level. I can say it based on past time, so that is not derogatory for me. That is how I am, and I can be unique in that way to develop devotional service to Krishna. I would answer you that way. I think it was Meera Mataji. Hare Krishna. I hope that answers you. Was that Meera Mataji? Who was that? I'm sorry, I forgot the name. I hope it answers you. Okay. Any other questions?
Yeah,
Let me just
Akshay
see.
has.
Yeah, Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Okay, Hare Krishna. Meera Mataji. Yeah, go
so
ahead,
like,
Akshay.
yeah. So as you said, like even Buddha was the one of the avatars, right?
We didn't touch Uddhava today, but yes, Uddhava will also be an avatar. Yes, I think
No,
he will come.
Lord Buddha. I mean,
Lord Buddha. Yes, yes,
yeah.
Buddha is.
So now, if you see, like in a history, if you see, so people have been, they have been breaking Lord Vishnu's temples and all, and on top of that, they will be building Lord Buddhas, right? So why, like, then why there is they like like there is differentiate between these, like, because even Lord Buddha is incarnation of like even Vishnu and all, they all are same. Then why there is differentiate by breaking this temple and all? It's like why is that, Prabhuji?
Because they're not intelligent like you, Akshay Prabhu. And they're not reading Srimad Bhagavatam like you. So you should please go and explain them Srimad Bhagavatam, and then they will be able to understand the incarnations. Why are people fighting in the name of religion? Because they don't understand and appreciate the other's religion. We see what are bona fide religions and we accordingly respect them.
So it's all about knowledge, intelligence.
Yeah, it's all about knowledge. Yes, yes, yes. And so we need people like you who can go and explain them. So please explain to everyone that this is what Srimad Bhagavatam says, which is Amala Purana.
Okay, just adding on to that, I have one small question. Like I am there on some social media platform, and there are some pages where they gave darshan of Krishna of all with different kind of temples. So one of the question was raised that why do they build temples in so great way? Like why do you spend so much money and wealth in temples and all? Why so much? Like even they can have simple temples and all. Okay. So like I don't like so in this way, like I just answered him, yeah, then similar way, why do we have big buildings, big cinema halls? Okay, like wasting so much money of them. Even they just need, like even some 4-5 member of family, they they can easily live in some 2-3 BHK house, but they still have huge buildings by spending so much money, electricity, waste of water and all. So like, is that the right way to answer? Like, I mean, is there any better
Okay,
way to answer this question?
Srila Prabhupada, when the Mayapur was formed, if you go to Mayapur, I don't know, have you any time visited Mayapur?
No, Prabhuji, not yet.
Okay, if you go to Mayapur, as you enter the gate of Mayapur, to the left is a hut, which is the kutir. Okay? It is a hut. Still now there is a hut. Inside that, Gaurnita is there and Prabhupada's is there. You have Neem deities. So Prabhupada said that this is sufficient for us. This hut is sufficient for us. For the devotees, there is nothing else. If you go and see the devotees, we all don't need much things. We just need a sleeping bag and maybe a small place to stay, and where we can do our ablutions and something to eat. So for the devotees, there is no requirement. But in order to attract people in general who are only attracted to phantasmagoria, they need something very nice. When you see something very nice, see, if I would have given the same class as a class, many of you would not have liked it, because I put some PPT and some slides. The same thing I said. I didn't write anything else which is not there in Prabhupada. I have just read the purport of Srila Prabhupada. You like it because we like to see, we like to visualize, and hence, because for them, so that they can come and get involved in the devotional service. Because even if you come to a temple, you pay obeisances at a temple. Krishna says the most confidential knowledge. What is the most confidential knowledge in Bhagavatam? In Bhagavad Gita, the most confidential knowledge Krishna says is Manmana Apamad Bhakta Madhyadi Mamanaskiri. Krishna says that's the most confidential knowledge, not to surrender to the super soul. That is more confidential. Most confidential knowledge is to be engaged in devotional service. And it is easier when you have bigger places. People will come to it. People flock to temples to pay obeisances. People are just waiting. That's why bigger temples are born. And not only that, the second perspective of seeing that is, hey, will you expect your president? Why does the president of India stay in this presidential palace?
Yes.
Because he's the first citizen of the country. So even if he's alone, even if he's not married like Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, but he will be given that, sir, given that thing. Why can't the president go in the normal air flight? Why is the Air Force One being there for the president? Because there is certain things which is meant for him, which will help him, because if he spends the normal time for some other thing, he can use that for some other activities. So if the president of a country is requiring that much, just imagine that is just the president of a country called India. There are so many such nations. And when you have so many such nations, that nations is in one planetary system. And now you saw that planetary system is just one universe. And similarly, there are innumerable universes. And just what to think about the person who is the source of all these universes. Just by whose sweat, half of the universe is filled up. Why can't we make something bigger than that? It's again one based on they don't understand that. So as a matter of gratitude, we show that. In our house, if we have to give the first food, when my breakfast is done, the first person I go and give is to my father. If my father is there, I'll go and give them. Not that I take my plate and start eating up. People don't understand, actually. That's it. So don't get into much argument. Just understand.
Yes, Ruby. But I got wonderful answer from your side. I got to know more. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Yes. Chakresh Prabhu asks, why Lord create first example of how it was, kitchen was there, and how the mother gives a toy kitchen. So this place is also a place where the universe, where the Lord has given us, so that we can become small Ishwaras in our world. And we can also feel how it is to be the Lord. Just a jail, inside you feel that. Hare Krishna. Vipin Prabhu,
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. One Mataji asked about this. When Mataji asked about that derogatory remark, maybe with your permission, I would like to offer my views if it's okay, Prabhuji.
Yeah, Prabhu, if it is with regards to the scriptures, using scriptures as the basis, then you may please.
Absolutely, Prabhuji. See, actually, apart from whatever I heard from you, apart from whatever I heard from ISKCON sources, I have also had the opportunity to listen to many of the lectures related to Srimad Bhagavatam. Actually, the 4 Varnashrams are meant only to indicate a particular class, like a Brahmin is meant to lead, give the intellectual knowledge, and Vaishyas need to do the business, and Kshatriyas need to protect, and Shudras need to, it's a working class. So that way there is absolute equality among all the 4 classes. It doesn't mean that Shudra is meant to be lower in any way, either be in intention or in words. They are working class. Similarly, Mataji's ladies by structure, by nature, are meant to serve the family and the society in their own way. Actually, if the father is ill, only he may be starving. But if the mother is ill at home, all the rest of the family will be starving. So that is the unique position of women in our society right from Srimad Bhagavatam days. Because of the Kali Yuga, there is a equality, there is a derogation, there is a discrimination, all these things. If you if you fully understand the spirit of Srimad Bhagavatam, women are placed in a highly exalted position that they are meant to work for the welfare of rest of the human beings. That way, a woman is compared to working class because she works for the whole family. Now only the things have changed. That I would like to understand the spirit behind that. There is absolutely nothing derogatory, and even a Brahmana has to follow all the scriptures principle to attain moksha. Whereas a woman, if she serves the family and just chants Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, she will easily attain moksha. She did not have to struggle like a Brahmana doing so many yagnas, yagas, tapas, and all those things. That way, woman is highly in an exalted position. I would like to offer this as one of my explanations, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhu. Maybe just to add, we say Radha, Krishna, Lakshmi, Narayana. So everywhere mother's name is come first. Sita, Ram. Yeah, thank you for bringing that point. Vipin Prabhu, Santosh Prabhu, I think has a question. Can we take that?
Yeah, sure. Okay, one last question. Yeah, sure.
Okay. Santosh Prabhu.
Santosh,
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji,
Right.
for giving me the opportunity to ask this question here. So, Prabhuji, my question is, we have these images of all the avatars, who have been here for I don't know, countless years. We cannot count them. So I need to understand who has given. I mean, how did we conclude that this is the face of the Lord? My question.
Okay.
How did we come to know that this is how Lord Krishna used to look when he was
So,
there?
yeah. So
or this is how Lord Vamana used to look during his avatara when he had come here. So is this based on any kind of pictures that we had from our past, or or it's just an imagination, and we have sketched a figure, and then that's how we have concluded how the Lord used to look when he was had taken the avatara.
okay. So thank you for asking. Interesting question actually. But I'll just say you the photos which I have taken is taken from the BBT. Now, how did this come up? Now, this came up when the devotees, whoever were doing that, they read. After they drew. And when they drew, they were then approved by Srila Prabhupada, who about that. So it is based on the authority. Similarly, Prabhupada would have heard it from his spiritual master. So this comes based on the authentication and authorization of a bona fide disciplic succession. That's how we would come to know. Because prior to this, we didn't have these mobile phones or cameras to take a photo and snap it. They only kept them in their heart, So as soon as, we are not like Hanuman also to tear open and show our heart that, and the Lord stays there. The very clear description is given that I'm in a 4-handed form, I'm this size, I have conch here. And how will he look? He will look the most beautiful because he is Krishna himself. He attracts everyone. And the human species follows the Lord. So that's why we know that the human species looks like the Lord. It's not that the Lord looks like human species. Humans look like the Lord. So that's how it is. And then based on whatever the authorities and they have said, that's how we have taken. So certain things we have to take on faith and go about. Like when I go to I haven't done it. I do not know if anyone of you have done. I use it whenever I take a flight or leave alone flight, whenever I go by bus or by car. As soon as I enter the bus or I enter the flight, I never go to the cockpit of the flight and ask, hey, are you a pilot? Can you show me a pilot license? I don't do that. I basically have a faith that anyone who is there in the cockpit is a pilot. There have been certain gradients done to that. There's certain liquid. Similarly, faith, Shraddha becomes the most important thing in taking this. And when Shraddha on bona fide disciplic succession is the most important thing. And in this case, the photos are something which has been authorized by an Acharya, we follow it up. I just remember that there was one particular person, I forget his name. He came and he said to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that I have written a commentary in followed Sridhar Swami. I forget his name, comes in Chaitanya Charitamrita. So, so Mahaprabhu actually refused to see his commentary because he said that he didn't follow the disciplic section. He didn't follow Sridhar Swami's commentary, who is the original, means who is one of the earliest commentators of the Srimad Bhagavatam. So what I intend to say is that we just follow someone, and whoever, whatever they have said, if they have said this, we are doing that. Faith becomes important in deductive form of taking knowledge.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you. Thank you, Mata.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
I see a question someone has sent. I have heard that Krishna is also an avatar of that supreme power. No, Krishna is not an avatar. Krishna is avatari, like Chaitanya is avatari. So remember, Krishna avatari, Chaitanya avatari. So they are the source of all incarnation. Please join our class next week, because next week we start up with that verse, Ete Chamsa Kalapumsa. Krishnastu Bhagavan Swam. So you will basically get a more deeper understanding. Today we touch based some part of it, but maybe I couldn't explain it very properly. My god cousin or god brother next week will explain it more clearly, and you will get that. Someone with a understanding of feeling and love. So whoever it is. Thank you. Vipin Prabhu, all to you. I'm sorry, I've already taken 19 more minutes of yours.
No.
Conclude it.
So thank you very much, Prabhuji, for a wonderful explanation on Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, third chapter. You explained through all the avatars very nicely. We would like to express our gratitude to His Grace Anadi Jagannath through by one time loudly chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And we would like to thank all the devotees for joining in today for the Sunday Bhagavatam first canto series. And we shall see you next week for the crux of the verse, that is Iti Jansa Kalapamsa, that is the crux of whatever Prabhuji has actually spoken. So we'll see you next week again at 10 a.m. Hare Krishna. So please attend the quiz. And many of you were asking me the PPTs for today's session. So we will send out the PPTs in the WhatsApp group. I'll put a link where I will put the PPTs of all the previous sessions as well. Just give me 1-2 days time. And many of you were already also asking for the kirtan, which we play in the starting of the, just before the Bhagavatam starts. So that also will be posted in the WhatsApp group within 1 to 2 days. Hare Krishna. So thank you very much.
Prabhu, there is
Yes,
some
Prabhuji,
questions. If you agree, others can leave. Whoever have questions,
yeah,
I can
whoever
sit
have
for.
questions can stay. Others, if you want,
I just have one question here, so others can leave. I will just. Is that okay with you, Vipin Prabhu?
Yeah, sure, Prabhu, sure.
I think Satirupini Mataji asks something on Vaishnava Aparadha. I couldn't understand that. Are you there to explain that? Are you there? She's in Sharada Prabhuji. I think if you're unmuting, you can unmute her. Oh, she has left, I think. Okay, it's fine. Yeah. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Thank you for being patient with me. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you all the devotees for joining. Hare Krishna. Please attend the quiz. Quiz link is put in the WhatsApp group and here as well. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.